Hello and welcome back to Well Played, presented by theSkimm. I'm Blake Morgan.
And I'm Greydy Diaz.
And in case you couldn't tell, that is not Caroline sitting in the chair next to me. That is one and only Greydy Diaz. Caroline is out mini-mooning this week with her lovely husband. He's now her husband.
Love that.
Yeah, she got married this weekend. It looked incredible. I can't wait for her to come back and recap it. But for now, she's in Maine. So, Greydy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being willing to guest host in our girl Caroline's honor. Before we get into the show, please tell us, who are you? Who is Greydy?
Listen.
More importantly, who is Mid-Range Mommy?
Oh my goodness. So Mid-Range Mommy is who I am. I grew up playing basketball. I still play to this day, but I'm known as Mid-Range Mommy because that is my game. That's where I have perfected, which is the mid-range, which I believe is a lost art in the game. Although there are some mid-range mommies in the WNBA for sure. Asia Wilson, Courtney Williams, and so many others. But I'm a sports journalist, host, producer, tastemaker. Ooh. I do all the things from interviewing athletes to podcasting to hosting to even creating content.
And to sitting courtside frequently at Liberty games.
Every game, baby.
Yeah. That's kind of a legit hookup. And I'm so envious of you every time you post. It looks amazing. Before we get into it, though, be sure to check out the full-length video of this on YouTube or subscribe, listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places. Do you want to get into the show?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it.
So as always, we've prepared a roundup of our favorite stories dominating your feeds this week. It's time for Playing the Field.
First, let's talk about one of the bigger on-the-court moments from this weekend, which was Caitlyn Clark of the Indiana Fever, Paige Bueckers of the Dallas Wings going head-to-head in a little game of basketball.
Yeah, it was their first time matching up, which is really cool. Cool to see. They're both incredible players.
White girls from the Midwest as well. We love to see it. We love to see it. Did you get to watch the game at all?
I didn't, but I did. I caught some of the...
You heard the commentary.
Of course I did. The highlights.
In the zeitgeist?
I mean, people, I feel like when you have great players, they tend to try to, pin them against each other. But at the end of the day, game recognizes game. There's so much respect, especially at the pro level. So it's not going to work.
I know. I was like looking at some, because obviously people love to compare them for so many reasons. First and foremost, like I said, white girls from the Midwest, and just younger players in the league. And, I was listening to a podcast called No Offseason with Zena Keita, her name is, and it's from the New York Times. And they were just comparing also just the ways that like they've come up through systems in such different ways, but also similar ways. So like Paige, went to UConn, a more traditional, very hoorah basketball school. And then, won the championship last year, I guess this past year. And then Caitlyn, Miss Iowa, kind of like breakout. Smaller school, not as like known for their basketball. So I understand why people compare them. But I also read this comment that Paige had said a couple months back, I think, obviously addressing the fact that they get compared to each other a lot. And she's like, listen, I get why people do it. It brings people into the game. Yeah. People who maybe wouldn't be in it normally. But at the same time, like, I don't want to focus on the comparisons. Like, for my game itself, we both respect the fuck out of each other. But otherwise, it's not really productive.
It's not at all. And if you look even closer, their games are a bit different.
How so?
I feel like Paige has a bit more handle. I think she's better, like, in transition. Yes, Caitlyn Clark is incredible at creating that space, for her jump shot. But I think if we're talking like complete game, and even if you look at consistency and percentages, Paige is a little up there.
Already.
A little bit more, but, time will tell, and we'll see, at the end of the day, I want to see who's going to win a championship first. Oh. I think championships matter, especially in your career. Everybody wants them.
Do you feel like it's too early to make a prediction on who's going to get there first?
Oof. I think both are in interesting situations, but
well, I guess you actually don't look at the team, right?
You'd have to look at the team, and Dallas isn't doing that great. So
in fact, they matched up this weekend, like we said, and the Wings did not pull through with the W. And there was this viral moment that came from the post-game press conference. And so this reporter just asked Paige, here's the quote. The reporter asked, I think a few of the 4 turnovers were picked off by Caitlyn. Was there any particular that you saw maybe she was kind of a step ahead? It seemed like she was jumping the passing lanes a few times. And Paige just goes, yeah. She's like, I think you answered the question yourself. It was so awkward.
Super awkward. And it's, if you're a reporter and you're trying to get an answer, you don't put an answer in the question.
Dial it back a bit. Just
Right.
like say the question, let my girl answer.
Right. But I can understand like just the annoyance in that, and her just, I mean, I think she gave a great response.
She is so media trained, because if it were me, I'd be like, are you stupid? Did you really just ask me that and then answer it yourself? These girls, they get the training so young.
They do. I mean, they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, they're businesses now, these players, right?
I wish they weren't so media trained, though.
Yeah,
Maybe more fun for us. So on the topic of Caitlyn and Paige, well, first I have to say, for Caitlyn, off the court, it's been quite of a love fest for the two of them. Not between the two of them, but for the two of them separately. So Caitlyn posted a birthday tribute to her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, saying, "You make every day better." Okay, boo. Not the story I care about, though. Let's talk about what you have to bring to the table today.
Yes, so we got some new content of Paige and AZ, and fans spotted them together again this past week, which I love. I mean, they're everywhere, and I love that we see AZ supporting Paige, you know, on the road.
Yeah. I'm just like, we're lucky that it's summer, because AZ's going to play again this year, no?
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? The
seasons
scared.
interlap a little bit, but not a lot. So come October, we're probably going to see Paige
the opposite
at UConn. Of course.
My goodness. These long distance relationships.
It's just incredible.
And like I don't know, I just like am fearful as somebody who was in a college relationship that had ended. I'm just like, I don't want this to end.
No.
That would be my nightmare.
But I feel like
I love the two of them together.
I just think, especially as power women that they are, I do believe that they have the resources to make things happen.
That is true.
And, you know, we're in 2025. We have FaceTime, but who knows?
You're such a realist, Greydy.
Absolutely. I mean, there could be private jets. You know what I mean? Like, they got money.
Yeah.
So anything is possible.
A charter even.
Right?
Mm-hmm. I hope that this works out, because it's just like one of those relationships that if it ends, I will be personally devastated.
Yeah. And they've been friends for a long time, which I believe is an incredible foundation.
Exactly, the foundation. Mm-hmm. Okay, love that. There's also, just continuing to talk about WNBA, there's a real trend happening right now of WNBA players investing in other women's leagues. So Aaliyah Boston just became an investor in Boston Legacy FC, the new women's soccer team in town, formerly known as Boss Nation. Did you hear about this whole
Of course I did. And I did not love it at all. Did you not
like the name, or did you not like the balls conversation?
I think all of it, it didn't work.
It wasn't for me.
I'm so happy that they took the feedback and rebranded.
Yes.
And they actually got a lot of input from women, from Boston, women of color, a diverse group of women. And now we have Boston Legacy, which I believe is a beautiful name, because Boston is known for being a championship city. Mm-hmm. So the bar is really high. And for a name like that, it's powerful.
Yeah. It's something to aspire to, because they already have like the legacy of all these other sports teams. In case you don't remember what I'm talking about, when this club was announced back in the fall, it was called Boss Nation. But more importantly, they released this like really questionable 1-minute video where they basically talked about the legacy of Boston sports clubs.
Right.
And they aired this 1-minute video of all these men's sports clubs. And they said that there are too many balls, and they're like steel balls, big balls, like making it so much about men, even though we're talking about like a literal women's football club. It was so strange. And then people did not like the name. So they, like Greydy said, they listened to the feedback, got back in there, went to the drawing board, right. Came back with a little bit of a stronger name. So thank you, Boston Legacy, for doing that. But yeah, it's great to see Aaliyah Boston doing this. She is from Massachusetts, like yourself.
She's not from Massachusetts.
Oh, sorry, she's not from Massachusetts.
But she moved up there. She grew up there. She moved there when she was 12. She moved there when she was about 12, right. And she went to high school at a prep school, which is incredible. So she's always back in Boston. You know, she has roots there, and I love that she's investing. No, of course, and Honestly, how can I get in that ownership group?
Listen,
maybe someday.
Maybe they're looking for some mid-range mommies trying to
Hey,
get in. I feel
why
like
not?
they would.
And Caitlyn Clark is reportedly involved in a bid to bring another NWSL team to life. And so, yeah, I think that the future of women's sports is going to be built and hopefully owned by women, especially athletes.
I know. It's so cool because obviously NWSL is a bit of a smaller league. WNBA, we have seen such incredible explosion in growth, in support, in attention. So it's really cool to see these athletes who know what it's like to kind of like break through, I would say, in like the wider zeitgeist of people who aren't super tapped into sports. And it's cool to see them kind of give back in a way to the smaller leagues that deserve so much attention because the athletes in these leagues are incredible. So I love seeing this from Aaliyah. I like hearing that Caitlyn is interested in investing. But you know, there's been a lot of buzz about the WNBA expanding. We know Cleveland, Detroit, Philly. But I'm curious what you think about maybe even like a WNBA team coming to Boston. Do you think that that is a viable market for the W?
Absolutely. I mean, just growing up there, I always felt like there was a need. I would always go to Connecticut Sun games, which was a bit of a commute. It's a bit out the way. Although the games are incredible. Love the Connecticut Sun. Love what they've built. But I do believe that Boston needs its own team. You know, Boston's a great city. There's a lot of opportunities. As I said, it's a championship city. There's a lot of history there. And Boston would absolutely welcome and love that opportunity.
Do you think Boston and Connecticut would beef a lot? Like, is there a lot of Massachusetts, Connecticut beef or not really?
If there's beef, I don't feel like it's real.
Why?
I don't know. I'm not beefing with Connecticut, and I hope Connecticut's not beefing with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, but honestly, like, you know, I don't know what the future of the Connecticut Sun is, but, you know, I hope that they could stick around if possible. But at the end of the day, in my lifetime, I want to see a WNBA team in Boston because the little girl in me who always wanted that wants to see that come to fruition and wants that for that next generation.
Manifesting it.
Absolutely.
This weekend is also, as we mentioned, the WNBA All-Star game. Sabrina Ionescu is returning to the three-point contest and taking on Sonia Citron so far. Rumor has it maybe Caitlyn Clark will tap in. It is happening.
I hope Caitlyn Clark will tap in.
She better.
It's in Indiana, and you're one of the best shooters. You have to, and maybe she's going to be that surprise announcement.
Do that.
And if they didn't lock that in,
missed opportunity.
And it probably was about some bread at the end of the day.
Wait, why? Why do you say that?
Players need to get paid for appearances. Are you kidding me? This is one of the biggest stages, and at the end of the day, they know their worth. So if she's not participating, I think it has to do.
You don't think she would do it for the love of Indianapolis?
I don't think you should have to do anything for the love anymore, especially when you're the business baby. Like, no,
I like that.
We don't do anything for the love. Love doesn't pay my rent.
Say that. She's standing on business.
But if it's for a friend, absolutely, I'm down to help with whatever. But the WNBA is a business.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different.
Clocking that. Moving away from the WNBA, though, let's talk about Wimbledon, which wrapped. You play tennis.
I do play tennis. I've played tennis since I was 14.
Wow.
Started in high school. Basically, at the boarding school that I went to, you had to play a team sport every semester. Even though, tennis does have doubles. Right. But you had to play a sport, rather. So I chose tennis, and I played for the first time, and I loved it.
That's amazing, because when I think back, like 14 is kind of an older age to start a sport, but it's really not in the grand scheme of things of life.
Right.
I'm really bad at tennis. I want to be so good at it. I love the culture around it. I'm starting to like the culture around it, I should say. I'm going to stick to pickleball, though. That's
pickleball's cool, though. But tennis can help you with pickleball, and maybe pickleball can help you with tennis.
Maybe.
You have to
I got to pick up a racket. I don't have a tennis racket. I only have pickleball paddles.
Well, if you need one to borrow, you know who to ask.
So anyway, Wimbledon 2025 wrapped with a final that was historic and humbling. So on the women's side, Iga Świątek defeated American Amanda Anisimova 6-0, 6-0. That's a clean sweep. No games dropped. It was really fast, 57 minutes. I saw one of my friends, very shady, posted on his Instagram story, could have been an email.
No.
Tennis doesn't happen in email, Darren. Hope you're listening.
That's wild.
I know. He's like a big tennis guy. But that also hasn't happened at Wimbledon since 1911.
Wow.
We're talking over 100 years.
That's a long time.
That is a long ass time.
But I do love that after that match, Coco sent, a heartfelt message on X, just saying so much to be proud of, Amanda, keep your head up. And I just think that playing tennis, especially, you know, it being a single player sport, is really hard. Like, I don't feel like they get enough credit for the work, for the mental toughness you have to have, especially on the biggest stage, you know, especially with this Grand Slam, you know, Wimbledon. So I think to even make it that far is like,
oh, of course. And Amanda in particular, I was not familiar with her story, but her dad died in 2019 from like a really tragic sudden heart attack. Obviously crazy. She was also so young at the time. She's only 23 now. So that was like, what? I can't do math. What's that? 7 years ago? 6 years ago? 6 years ago? And then in 2023, she decided to take like 8 months off of tennis, I believe, for her mental health. And we talked about this last week a bit with Naomi Osaka and how, I mean, she hasn't taken I don't think as much of a break as that, but I just was feeling for Naomi when she got, you know, eliminated early on. But Amanda, yeah, she stepped away from tennis for her mental health. She came back to the sport January 2024. She apparently during that time didn't even pick up a racket. And that's like retired player behavior. You know what I mean? Like, I can't even imagine. And what you're saying is so right about it being an individual sport. All that pressure is on you. Like, I can't even, I could literally not imagine. It's and that way, I think it is harder than a team sport. You know what I mean?
Absolutely it is.
But if I were Amanda, yeah, kind of what Coco was saying, I would just be proud that I even made it back to tennis to begin with, first of all. And then to have made it as far as she did. I know it sucks to come in second sometimes, but like that is already such an accomplishment. Yeah. And I hope she never forgets that.
And I'm sure she won't. And you learn so much with losses, right?
Yeah.
They're just lessons, and I'm sure she'll be back. So, I mean, her future is so bright.
Yeah. On the men's side, Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, their rivalry is just continues to give us everything we need. The two faced off in the French Open just, I guess, a month-ish ago. Carlos did win that. It was like a 5-hour game, something like that. Crazy talk. But Sinner came out on top for this one in his first Wimbledon title. What do we think about this rivalry?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. I think it's a fun rivalry, and you need it.
You need rivalries. Sports are honestly kind of boring without them.
Absolutely. But it wasn't all polite in London. Did you catch the moment where Champagne Cork went rogue during one of Sinner's serves?
I did see that. And apparently it wasn't the only time in the tournament that it happened.
That's insane to me. I can't imagine that happening at any other sporting event, but it kind of like, it makes sense.
It's a very Wimbledon posh thing to do. Right. During the serve, though, come on, guys. Be respectful.
They were clearly having a good time.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they were barely watching the tennis.
Did you see Carlos's face? He was like,
he threw his hands up. He's just like, are you kidding me? And I get it. The sound is very distracting.
Super.
So Sinner also, for winning, he took home $4.1 million as a prize and a trophy, which according to the New York Times is 3/4 of the size of the one that they hold for the broadcast. And it has all the past winners' names engraved on it.
Super cool.
Yeah.
I do think that they should be the same size, though.
I agree.
I don't want a mini version of a trophy.
Do you remember at the French Open when Coco?
Yes. It was like this big.
It was size, guys, don't forget, it was the size of a Perrier bottle.
It's
unacceptable.
Wild.
I need the big thing in my house.
And they can afford to get them the big one.
Of course they can. It's Wimbledon. Oh my God. I do think, talking about the rivalry, as we said, sports would be boring without it. I think it makes it more fun, though, too, for, like, the underdogs. I'm thinking of you, Ben Shelton. For them to, like, potentially upset. Like, I want to see the third party enter this game. I want it to be Ben, for him to do it for Trinity. I mean, for himself, too. But, like, come on. Trinity can't date a loser. You know what I mean? He's not a loser. He's top 10. Right. But still, I would love to see that happen. Did you also see, though, the Champions Dance?
Yes. I did.
Champions Dance meaning Iga and Jannik had to dance together at, like, a post-game ceremony.
I didn't think it was as awkward as I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm. Probably because they were happy. I feel like usually they're
I think
kind
they
of
were
reserved.
very good sports about it. And Sinner was just like,
he was so happy.
Just smiling, just having a good time. And I think that they both did a cute little dance. And it is kind of weird. You know what I mean? But I feel like they didn't make it weird.
Yes. It is odd that they were summoned to dance. I wonder if they knew it was coming.
Probably, right?
I would hope.
Yeah, I think they did.
Because they're both, like, introverted people from what I have seen and gathered. So to make two introverts dance together, cruel work if they don't have warning ahead of time. That's just cruel. No Wimbledon appearance or no Wimbledon final would be complete without some royal appearances and celebrity appearances. But let's start with the royals. So Kate was there. Princess Kate. I think she's a princess, right? She's a princess.
I think so.
With all these titles, it's hard to keep track.
She threw me off with the new hair color.
She had a new hair. I didn't even notice. She just looked like a brunette to me. What was the hair color?
It was a lighter shade.
A lighter shade of, I would not clock that.
Okay.
It like was the same length as it always is.
Yeah, no,
the
for
longer.
sure. For sure.
Her hubby was there, William, with their son, George. Charlotte was seated next to her. Who was absent, though? Little Louis. He's only 7 years old. Their youngest son. I guess, like, maybe he's too much of an iPad kid. Like, that's not, that's not allowed as a royal. You can't be an iPad kid. You can't be fidgeting. Like, honestly, even the restraint that the two of them, George and Charlotte, exhibited, amazing. Couldn't be me. They probably go through, like, body training. I swear to God. Like, etiquette. You got to sit still. Training. Right? It's probably be a thing.
I would have stayed home too. No, I'm kidding.
I know. I'm like, honestly, shocked.
He's super young. He probably wouldn't have enjoyed it.
No, he probably wouldn't have enjoyed it. I'm just shocked that it's even an option. Like, imagine being able to be like, I'm going to sit this one out. I'm going to sit this Wimbledon out. I better see him in the courts next year. I feel like in a year we can do some etiquette training, some stay still. Like, how long can you stay still training?
Yeah.
You want a labubu? You got to sit still for 5 minutes straight, And Charlotte was there front and center with her mom. It was so cute. Like, she had her pink little nail job. Mm-hmm. And then also she's normally pretty reserved, obviously, but she had the cutest little reaction. She was like squishing her face when like a bad play happened. It was just so adorable, very relatable. I feel like she like let her hair down a little bit in those moments as a kid. You know what I mean? Just like genuinely reacting to the reacting.
It might spark an interest for her to maybe play if she doesn't already.
I think she already does play. Cool. She had a lesson. I was reading. She had a lesson before with, I believe it was Federer. Casual things you can get as a little royal. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. But, Kate was handing out the trophies. What do you think about that?
I mean, it makes sense. If it's going to be in London, if there's going to be a royal box to begin with, they should be involved in some way.
Yeah, why not?
But aside from the royals, who are celebrities in their own right, let's be real. But there were a lot of celebrities, and I'm going to name a few. And at the end of it, I want you to tell me who from the list you would want to sit next to at Wimbledon. So some of the names in appearance were Camilla and Matthew McConaughey, Lily Collins of Emily in Paris royalty, Glenn Powell, Priyanka Chopra and her hubby Nick Jonas, Tom Holland, Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott, a.k.a. the hot priest from Fleabag, if you've never watched, Olivia Rodrigo, Kate Blanchett, Jessica Alba, and David Beckham. Obviously, there were so many others, but these are just like a small list. Of the list, who are you sitting next to?
Probably David Beckham, because a young Greydy Diaz loved me some David Beckham.
So forward. Yeah, what would you say? Would you shoot your shot?
No, I mean...
Put some respect on Posh.
Right. No, no, I think it would be, he was an incredible athlete. So I think, just kind of talking, about his journey, and I'd love to know more about, what he's into now and just that transition. And obviously he's been out of sport for a long time, right?
Well, it's funny you say that. I would actually want to know, I would work my magic to figure out what's going on between him and Brooklyn right now, because he and his son have been beefing. I think it's because Brooklyn, his ex-girlfriend now dates his brother.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So it's been messy.
Yikes.
Like, David had his 50th birthday recently, and Brooklyn wasn't there.
Oh, no, they gotta figure that out.
And I would try and mediate, maybe. I don't really know if I would want to mediate it. I kind of just would want to know what's going on from his perspective.
Wow.
I know.
That's so sad to me. Family's everything, so I hope they get that squared away.
I hope they do, too. Personally, I would probably sit next to Paul Mescal and Andrew Scott.
Ooh.
Paul Mescal is just that, like, indie it boy right now, I would say, in the film industry, aside from Timothée Chalamet, but he's kind of skyrocketed. Like, he's a little too famous. Paul, I feel like, is a little bit more under the radar, so I would want to sit next to him. And the hot priest, of course, from Fleabag. I don't know if you've seen Fleabag. Amazing show.
I have not, but I definitely also would love to sit with Jessica Alba. I think just, kind of growing up watching her and just also watching the many things that she's been able to do. And she's kind of showed us that you can be many things in your life, in your career.
She is.
She's a boss. So definitely would love to talk, business with her. And yeah, seems incredible.
Yeah. All right. Enough talk of all the sports, except we are going to talk about more sports because it's time for Send It, which is our 4 to 5. I think we have like 5 this week. Favorite viral moments from the week in sports and culture. So without further ado, Grady, would you like to share your first Send It?
Yeah, so first up, we have Luka Doncic, who couldn't make it to a fan's basketball game, but he responded with a video DM saying, let's hang out sometime.
It was so kind of weird. I literally thought it was fake. I thought it was AI generated. Because he did that weird pause.
He did do a weird pause. It was a little awkward, but I was just thinking maybe language barrier, potentially.
I think he just got nervous. Honestly, it looked like somebody, like it felt like his agent was like holding a gun to his head and was like, you better record this video for this fan or else. And he looked like he was being held hostage because he was like, let's hang out. Like a nervous shrug.
I guess my question for that is, okay, so what's the follow-up? Like, where are they meeting up? Are they going to...
No, what are the logistics? We need to know the logistics of this hangout.
Yeah, it was very like...
How are they going to facilitate?
I don't even know.
Is it actually going to happen? Why?
Great question.
When I DM Luka, hey, love you so much, bestie, when can we hang? He doesn't answer. When this guy, I think his name is Ludwig, says like, hey, come to my basketball game, he's all ears. What do I have to do? Tell him to show up to a court to play pickup? I've never touched a basketball in my life. I've literally barely played basketball. I played volleyball this weekend for like the first time as an adult, and I was very surprised with my skill, but truly basketball is one of those sports that I'm like, I just don't think I would be remotely good. You got to show me, you got to give me some tips.
I got you.
Anyway, my turn. Okay, so did you see that Megan Thee Stallion posted, there are two Megan Thee Stallion stories actually. She posted a poolside selfie with who other in the background than her new man.
I did that zoom real quick. Who's that?
Did you actually, when you saw it, or did you like see that people were like,
I saw that people were like responding, and I was like, wait, what are they talking about? And then I zoomed in. I was like, that looks kind of like Klay Thompson.
And it was.
Confirmed
was. They hard launched this week. Well, that I thought was like a soft launch.
Yeah.
But it was a soft launch that felt fake. Like it felt like they planned that.
It had to be planned. Right?
Yeah. So it was like a fake soft launch turned hard launch because then they posted a picture together, more obvious that it was the two of them. What do you think of this like Meg and Klay duo?
Didn't really have it on my bingo card, to be honest. But hey, shooters shoot. We know Klay's a shooter, so Megan Thee Stallion, wow. She's incredible.
I just don't want this to affect her music because honestly, I was really riding the coattails of Hot Girl Summer for a long time. She makes up so much of my running playlist, and I just fear that a nice man will ruin that for the rest of us.
But we might get some good loves.
True. She'll showcase her tender side.
Maybe.
But then also, like, if they went through a breakup, I wouldn't be that upset because I feel like the music would just be chef's kiss. The other Megan Thee Stallion thing I needed to bring up was that did you see the Labubu thing?
Yes.
Did you see this, Sean? Oh my God. So she posted on her TikTok, which I think has since been deleted, a video of her and she's like sitting on Klay Thompson's lap. And she's like, my man bought me these Labubus and they're like a box of Labubus. And she just does a haul showing off the Labubus he bought her. And he's just like sitting there, I think pretty quiet the entire time.
Yeah.
And she's also like in her underwear. And it's like, he like didn't need to be here for this. Like he could have been any man sitting behind her because he is silent. And it's just like, he's just he's a seat. He's just a seat in this video. Yeah. Also, Labubu discourse, are you into it or are you not?
Honestly, I think it is what it is. I think it's cool, but not personally for me.
Not for me.
Because I'm just like, how long is this going to last?
Yeah. It does feel
like, are we giving it 6 months? Are we giving it a year? Are we giving it 2 years?
They're kind of reminding me of...
Are they expensive? Like, how much do they cost?
I mean, I feel like there's a black market, honestly, for fake Labubus right now. So I'm going to say they've gotten expensive because of all the clout they've received.
Do you have one?
No, of course not.
Would you put one on your purse?
If someone gave it to me.
Okay.
But I'm not like a trinket person.
Okay.
And I also, unfortunately, when I turned like 11, for some reason, I got into like a cleaning mode and I was like, I need to get rid of all my stuffed animals because I don't sleep with them anymore. I have no sentimentality about them and I regret it now. So I've just never really been that attached to stuffies.
Okay.
I feel for people who are. I'm just not that girl.
Although I do want to say, I believe it was last week, I was at the Liberty game and Ellie came up to me and had a Labubu with a mini Liberty jersey on it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Really cute. It made me double take.
Yeah. But Labubu team is working fast.
Very fast.
Okay. My next Send It, I have two more. So Olivia Culpo, who is married to Christian McCaffrey, welcomed her baby this weekend. The baby that everybody's been waiting for, truly. But the thing, I mean, yeah, there was news about her baby, but people really just couldn't stop talking about the baby bags, actually plural, that she brought to the hospital. So she showed us on her TikTok, she brought like 2 suitcases and probably a duffel, if I had to guess, of stuff that she was bringing to the hospital because she was going to give birth to her baby. And people just were losing their shit about it because who needs 2 suitcases full of stuff? I made a list of things that she brought because I didn't want to forget. And I want you to tell me if you feel like this is reasonable. Okay. She did preface it also with, I'm a first-time mom. So maybe she doesn't know yet what she needs or whatever. She packed 2 special pillows because she's like, I don't know what the hospital pillows are going to be like.
Respect. You need that.
Twin-size comforters for her and her husband. We got a reaction from Greydy there.
I like it.
Okay.
I want to be comfortable, and I want my man to be comfortable, too.
Okay. Sleep masks. That's pretty normal. Mini fans, plural. A cute light.
The vibe. You need a vibe while
I
you're
don't
giving
know about
birth.
that one.
I want a little vibe, like
she
make
brought
it comfortable.
Aromatherapy. Flameless flickering candles.
I
detest flameless.
She's creating a mood.
I detest flameless candles, so those would be immediately out for me.
Okay.
I'm just like, give me the real fire. Just like, let's just not waste our time. So you're pretty into the baby bag.
Absolutely. I mean, I've never had kids, maybe someday, but it seems like a very tough experience. And I think
like it.
Whatever you need to make sure that you are the most comfortable, the most ready, the most peaceful, do what you got to do.
I'm like 2 suitcases.
Listen, I might need 3 suitcases.
That is too far for me. That said, I have never had a baby before. So, I said this during our pitch meeting. I was like, this is just like rich people behavior. And then my colleague Rachel was like, yeah, but honestly, first time mom, it makes sense to me. Also, you just like want the illusion of control. And I was like, okay, that I could understand. Because you're about to lose control for the next like 18 years of your life. So take those last moments while you can. Okay. Our last sentence was when Sabrina Ionescu had the sweetest moment with a little Liberty fan last week. So she gave him and signed her shoes. And then they took a picture together. And this little boy was just hysterically crying. It was so precious. And then as they go to take the picture, Sabrina wipes the tears from his face. It was the sweetest moment. I didn't realize she was so good with kids.
She is incredible with kids. She tends to have like her niece and family members.
Yeah.
She travels. Like her family travels with her, which I love. She keeps her family close, but there's always some kids around. And yeah, she's definitely great with kids. And this moment, like low-key kind of made me tear up because it was just like such a beautiful moment. And that young boy is going to remember that forever. And she'll probably remember that forever too.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean? And he's got the shoes to show for it.
Right?
All right, Greydy, I want you to pick your favorite moment from the Sundance.
Probably the Sabrina moment. Yeah, because it really got a reaction out of me. Like I was like, oh my gosh. And I replayed it a few times and I was just like, oh, this is something. This is something, it's bigger than basketball. It's, just that, it's a human connection. And I think that's what life is all about.
So you went the tender route. I was going Meg and Klay because this is something I need to watch to keep track of because like I said, this could impact my running playlist in the future, given she makes up so much of
that's real.
My playlist.
Two things can be true.
Yeah. You were Team Clark, I'm Team Fee. Yeah. Sabrina, Meg. Rivalries.
I'll definitely text you this weekend to see who won this little bet.
We're going to,
this no money bet.
Yeah, of course. That is it for Send It, but don't go anywhere because last week before Caroline got married, her last interview that she did as as an unmarried woman, I should say, was with Tobin Heath. She is a U.S. Women's National Team legend, 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time Women's World Cup winner, and she just announced her retirement last week. And we got to speak to her actually 2 days before she announced this. So we got to speak with her. She told us all about her storied career, what's next for her. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
This feels like the weirdest, but also most incredible experience for me because I, in my really big rec league soccer days, I just feel like I've idolized you and like grown up watching the women's national team and like you were obviously on it for all of the years that I was like so invested. And so I'm like, oh my God, this is one of those moments where you're like, is this real life? Like I'm talking to someone that I've watched on like the biggest stages and I'm just like having a convo with them.
Well, hi. Yeah, let's have a convo.
Yay! Okay. We have questions prepared. I do want to say though, as I was preparing for this interview, I was looking at podcast recordings with you just to, listen to your voice, hear about your story. But then I found that somebody on Spotify like made a special music playlist for you.
Oh.
And it was like kicking it up, I don't know, with some soccer pun inspired by Tobin Heath. And there was like hundreds of likes.
I like how her reaction is, oh.
How was the music?
Yeah, was it good songs?
Stand by. I'm going to pull that back up.
I was going to say, do you feel like that is one of the weirder things you've learned about fans doing for you? Or is there something that really takes the
No, I think that's pretty par for the course. Yeah,
okay,
that sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay, I will say it's called Pitch Perfect Energy, playlist inspired by the energy, enthusiasm, and style of U.S. Women's National Team player Tobin Heath.
Wow. I need to follow this.
I'll send it to your team after.
Good hit.
Yeah. It could. Hopefully there's really good songs on there. Though.
There are. Can confirm there are.
Okay, good. But anyways, you, Tobin, have made a few big announcements last week. But for those who haven't kept up, would you care to share what those big changes in your life were?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I think the one that stands out the most and why like my eyes might be swollen or because I officially announced, I guess, like publicly that I'll be retiring 3 years after not playing, which is, I think sums up me in a nutshell. I feel like I had a bit of was held in this like weird purgatory of football and kind of the realization that I wasn't physically going to be able to come back, but not really coming to terms like emotionally with that. So it's taken a lot of healing. And then I think personally I came to terms with it, but there was a little bit of public need, I guess, for me to do it for a couple of specific reasons. And I felt like it was really special to be able to do it on the recap show, which is part of like kind of a bigger mission of my life's purpose, and to have created a space that felt so authentic and safe for this type of announcement was pretty special because I was an emotional wreck.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
how could you not be?
I know. I agree. It was tough, and I'm not used to. I'm like not much of a crier, so it was like really uncomfortable. Yeah. And then I guess on like the more like happier side is we signed a pretty cool and unique distribution deal with Odyssey for the recap show, which is amazing because it kind of just shows the commitment from a lot of different folks to doubling down on women's sports and how awesome they are. And we can't wait to do more of the recap show in kind of a bigger, badder gal culture way, because like we're all growing this awesome ecosystem and we're just playing a part of it.
Yeah, I feel like I love that you got to do it on your like terms and announce it in your way. I feel like that's a really special thing that athletes have been able to do with just like the rise of social media and their own kind of podcasts like yourself. But as someone who soccer has been their entire life, really, how did you kind of come to terms with this decision and end up finally getting to that point with yourself where you realize like, okay, it is time to officially announce it?
I'm specifically curious about when like the physical and the mental caught up with each other.
Like,
when was the physical moment that you're, because I mean, you get injured and maybe you're like, okay, it'll take a couple months or like maybe a year for me to rehab and then I'll get back into it. But like when,
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know if there's like a specific date that I can like kind of look back to, like to when those two things clicked,
Yeah.
But I knew I kind of like had an uphill climb with the injury, but I think for most athletes that have like played for a long time, it's part of the job. Like you have to overcome these things. And I had never seen a version of myself that didn't overcome something like this. So I like defying odds, and so I think kind of coming to terms with like the fact that I wasn't going to be able to was like really hard and really human. And also realizing, like I'm 37 years old. I've had a like kick-ass career, and I'm super grateful for being able to play as long as I did without something like this. So there was like a little bit of those two things, but like I gave it my all, that's for sure, to come back, like, and some. Probably too much of the and some to come back. But it's really just, I don't know. I mean, since you followed along, football like really was kind of an expression for me. So it's an identity more than it is like, oh, like you're a professional athlete. It's actually just like a piece of my soul, and a way that I've, been able to express myself for a long time. So without that, I kind of felt like, who am I? A little bit. So it's been a unique journey, to say the least. I'm still going through it, but I think this is kind of the next phase of it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that takes time, obviously, for anyone, even if it's like a transition out of like collegiate athletics like I had myself. I was even surprised that took me a while. I was like, oh, that's so weird. It didn't feel like it was that big of a deal, but it's always more than you expect, kind of thing.
Dude, college sports is intense.
Oh my God.
That's like half your, like, that's more than half your, up until half your life.
Yes. And then I look back and I'm like, how did I work out for like 4 hours a day? I can't even go for a walk these days.
And I like live in a walkable city.
Yeah, exactly. I live in New York. What are we doing?
So talking a bit more about your retirement. So obviously for us, we've known that women's sports have been it for a long time, but for men, much of the country, like that sort of is a reality that people are just sort of catching up to. So for you, like, how does it feel, especially since this is a big part of your identity? How does it feel sort of like stepping away from playing while this momentum is sort of building?
Oh, it's incredible. I just feel like so proud. I'm like a proud mom, I think, when I look at sports. And I just like look at the athletes themselves. And this is such a new generation of women's athletes and a new landscape. And I do look at back at it like fondly and proudly to see how far we've kind of like carried the torch, because we still got a long ways to go. But I do think celebrating is a big part of this. And the ecosystem like is flourishing. And I always say that I was dreaming and doing at the same time, which was pretty cool. And I feel like even now with our business and being an entrepreneur, like in this space, it's the same is true. Like we've built this like cool surfboard, like in a company called Rink. And, the waves have been all right in women's sports, but like now, like the waves are getting really good. And it's like cool to be able to like capture the momentum that's happening in women's sports, and having a vehicle that's just so authentic to who we are, to be able to use that to do so is pretty unique and cool. And to be a part of it, to have built a tiny piece of it, is just something that you want to continue to cheer for.
Yeah, most definitely. And having the recap show with you and Kristen Press, I feel like it's just, you get to still be a part of women's sports in such an exciting way. It might not be the same way that you were used to, but like you're still going to be a part of it and help it grow and all of that, which is, I think, almost better. It's a new perspective,
Yeah, it's like, honestly, I always say everything that we build is just comes from the place of things that were missing for us as athletes, and kind of the frustrations. And instead of, for a long time, we were kind of knocking on these like deadbolt doors and saying like, hey, somebody kind of like build something for us or help.
Yeah.
And then we were kind of just like, let's just do it ourselves. And that's been a really powerful like place to create from. And I think it's kind of opened that permission for so many others to do the same. And it's still going to continue we're still going to have to like beat on those doors. Right. But, it's really cool, like reimagining this landscape to reflect actually the kind of people and the sports that we've represented. Because I think for a long time, women's sports didn't have the right representation and voices that were talking about women's sports, and had no business even like understanding what women's sports is. And it's really exciting to have folks like yourselves actually talking about the thing, because you all know it the best.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I have a very specific question for you because I feel like, in my opinion, you've been like a little bit of an unsung hero in my opinion, because I feel like on the national team, that's where I really feel like I followed you most. You were obviously a part of many big goals, but you were really pivotal with assists and like setting up those big time goals for maybe game winners or like the Megan Rapinos or all of that. So I want to know, is there a moment or a memory on the field that maybe it's like always the one you go back to or you're most proud of, or it's just like the one that sticks in your mind the most?
No, I don't think so. I've always been happy to, play the role of whatever kind of team that I've been a part of. I think at the end of the day, like, I'm a winner. I'll do whatever it takes to win in whatever role. Because honestly, the stars don't happen unless the team wins. So I've always felt like that was my role on every team I've played on. I feel like I kind of can see the whole landscape and be able to, like, fortunately, I have a lot of tools in my locker that I can kind of play a lot of different roles to kind of fill in where the gaps are. I actually think that's my superpower as a player. Like, I'm really great at that. And, I think the thing that I'm probably most proud of is, like, I'm definitely hopefully a player's player and a coach's player first. If I want any kind of respect, it would be from my peers and hopefully the people that are like really, really junkies of the game. Like, I hope that they're able to recognize my craft. And I think that's where I get the most validation, is in that, because again, I think, like, not myself, and this isn't speaking for myself, but there's a whole cast of characters that should be known more, right? And I think that's the point of us doing what we're doing, is to have variety and diversity in the ways that we're able to storytell, to really give the full picture of women's sports, because we all know it was so narrow for such a long time. So yeah, I'm excited to continue to grow that out, because I know stories that I want to hear more about that are still kind of need to be unearthed in this landscape, and having more platforms to talk about women's sports on will only unearth more interesting stories and give the full picture of the sports.
Yeah, 100%.
I love how modest that answer was, and also how you very confidently were just like, I'm a winner.
Yeah.
Period.
She was like, mic drop.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm going to embed that up here.
Yeah, got to start using that in my vocabulary.
I think sometimes, like, especially like young players, they forget, like, you're not going to be a star unless you're on a winning team. Like, nobody cares about losing teams. Like,
yeah. So true.
Like, it's just
duh.
Like, the math doesn't math, So I'm like happy that that's the ultimate success, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Do you have a favorite moment from off the pitch that you are like, I am the most proud that I did this thing in the past, 20 years you've been in the game?
Yeah, I think obviously, like, it ties back to our pay equity lawsuit. Like, and I guess it's kind of little on the pitch, off the pitch. Like, it was such an insane time in 2019 where I really felt like destiny kind of took over. I think most athletes will be able to, like, string back to destiny throughout their whole kind of career. But that was a moment where it felt like the greatest powers and forces of the earth and goodness and justice, like, kind of prevailed. And I think the moment that I come back to the reason for being a lot of times and creating the things that I'm interested in is in the moment where the whole entire stadium after we won was chanting equal pay. And I think that's when I recognized, like, truly the power of sports, and especially global football, and just the power to liberate. And I think the experience I had in the locker room with these incredible women for so long, it's like I almost want to give that feeling to the rest of the world.
Yes.
And so I'm like, how do you create that, that feeling, and how do you invite people into it? That's kind of like what I always come back to. I don't really ever need that much motivation or passion, but if ever I do, I could kind of like just close my eyes and go back to that moment and be like, yeah, that's powerful.
Yeah, that just like shows you everything that goes beyond sport. It's just like you really made an impact And I mean, I feel like it spoke to so many people, so many women, and just like really put soccer even more on the map than it already was. You know, that was stories that I was hearing, my parents were hearing about. My parents do not watch sports, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think just like on the topic of pay equity and, you know, bettering working conditions for women, I'm thinking about women athletes in particular with this question. You know, the WNBA is renegotiating their
Yeah.
CBA right now. But like, what advice do you have for them, but also just anybody listening when it comes to bettering, you know, their working conditions, navigating those really hard times where you have to beat down those doors? I know it sounds kind of like a fluffy question, but like you guys really fought the hard fight and showed that there can be hope in navigating these
And like
conversations.
did it in such recent times. I feel like you guys are like such a good example of that.
Yeah, it's cool. I think there will be a lot of books and movies kind of in the future about this kind of stuff. But ultimately, I believe you have to speak your world into existence. Like worlds don't just like, they're just not created. Like you have to speak them. So understanding your worth and your value before somebody even gives it to you is really, really important. And the second thing is knowing when it's time to leave the room. You know, when it's not going to happen. I think that's equally as important because I think sometimes we stay in a room that's not going to move forward too long. And instead just being like, I want to use a curse word right now, but instead
by all means,
just
please.
being like getting up and leaving and being like, I don't need this. We don't need this, you know?
And sometimes that's like harder than doing anything at all.
Yeah, totally. But and I think that like people forget that like power, it doesn't just like say like, oh, here, you want some of it? Like here, take some. You know, like you have to go out and like take it, you know, and that's like believing and understanding your value and your worth before the world even sees it or before it's like has even been created is like go out and say it. Like say whatever world like you envision that you're going to live in and say it like it's now and tell people like it's now and make them feel like they're not in the now. You know, like that's the greatest advice I can give is like the power of like creating the worlds and speaking them into existence.
I'm obsessed with that. Okay, last one before we get into like a little bit of a more rapid kind of fire section. I just want to know, we're so happy for you entering this next chapter with your retirement. There's going to be such amazing things on the horizon for you. But what role and kind of how has your partner and your fellow soccer player, Kristen Press, how has she supported you? How did she help you kind of come to this decision? And what has it been like having someone who kind of knows that whole journey that you've been on right there in your corner?
Yeah, it was interesting after filming the episode. Obviously I was an emotional wreck and you know, I was just so like thankful to her because I would never have done this without her. And it was like a kind of a cool moment because it came out of a conversation where I had like kind of forgotten who I was like as a player. And I was like kind of emotional about it. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever struggled with like memories of versions of yourself that you kind of wish you could kind of go back to in some way or be reminded of. And like, obviously this is like a core part of my identity. And it's like, almost like I used to like dream in this, you know what I mean? And like, I feel like I had kind of lost it. And I kind of told her like, I forget who I was as a player. And I was like emotional about it. And I think she really took that and she was like, I don't want you to forget. And so then she kind of, you know, she knows that I like to be creative, that I don't want to do just like what's been done. And like, I don't want a big, like I'd never played football for like other people. So it's not like I need any kind of validation for what I've done. But I want to remember like who I was, you know, and what, you know, football maybe meant to the people that supported me on this journey. So it kind of came about with that conversation. And then she just created this incredible space for me to be vulnerable and then create space for what's next. So I'd say like, she's just amazing. And It was so selfless, and I felt just so incredibly loved and supported in all of it. And it certainly wouldn't have happened without her.
Yeah, I love that you have that kind of support in your corner, especially in like such a new and exciting chapter as this one. But like you said, there's going to be like different parts of it where the road isn't always straight. It's a little curvy and windy, and it's harder. And so
Definitely not straight.
yeah, that was good. I like that. Okay, we're gonna do a quick rapid fire, just like first thing that comes to mind. Okay,
I'm like gonna just forewarn, like I'm like more of like a stewer, you know.
that's
So
okay.
so I'm gonna do my best. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm like, this is my best, okay?
I appreciate you giving me
Level
your best
set.
right now. Yeah, I like the level setting the expectations. Okay, other than soccer, do you watch any like guilty pleasure sport?
Well, I've just gotten super into cycling.
Oh, okay, like that.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Okay, do you see yourself coaching in the future?
I don't know. I like the idea of it, but it's committing to a lot.
Yeah, totally. Now, what do you want your legacy to be in the soccer world? I know that's like a very loaded question.
I hope that like when I look out on the field, like I can see like bits of myself in the future generation, like players that I enjoy watching, that I can like see a little bit of me in that.
Ugh, that was a perfect answer. What are you talking about, you
Yeah.
Stu? You're literally full of it. That was perfect.
Yeah, come on. Okay, who is your dream guest for the recap show?
Ooh, this is such a good one.
Manifest it.
We're really like, I wanted to be outside of soccer and sports, actually.
You guys just had Parvati on.
Parvati was so cool.
Yeah.
But she kind of was like more aligned than some of like our sports guests.
Right.
Yeah, actually maybe like somebody really funny, just so that we could laugh the whole time, which I know people love on audio.
Yeah, that I know the audio people would be like, "You're killing me over here." But that's a good one, like a comedy, like an SNL person or something like
I
that.
love
That would be a
SNL.
good.
Yeah.
That would be a good one. Okay, thing that you miss most about New Jersey / like the East Coast, because I know you're a Jersey girl.
Bagels.
I'm a Jersey girl, so okay, she said bagels.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
it's
tread lightly.
it's the easy answer.
Bagels.
It's obviously bagels.
Yeah. And the people.
Really?
Yeah, like give me the straight up like East Coast.
Yeah.
Just tell me how it is, you know?
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
I think that's especially a North Jersey thing. I'm a Central Jersey person, but
Ooh,
I
I'm
resonate
North
more.
Central. What part are you from?
Right. I'm from like East Brunswick, right next to Rutgers.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
She's like,
I'm familiar
As
with
long
that
as you're
story. I
not
saw your
South
bio.
Jersey, it's fine.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, no.
Not those assholes.
With love. With love.
Kidding. Okay, well, Tobin, thank you so much. That was incredible. You were the best. Good luck on your next chapter. We know whatever you do, you're going to absolutely crush it, but we appreciate you taking the time to talk to
And
us.
wait, where can people keep up with you?
Yes.
Everywhere. We're digitally native like most people nowadays.
As the cool kids are these days.
Yeah, no, all the platforms, like honestly. However you get your media.
And is it at the recap show?
I think so.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Just Google it, everyone.
Yeah,
You'll
you know
figure
what?
it out.
Ask your friend Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys. Super supportive of what you're doing.
Appreciate you.
And that's it for this episode of Well Played. Thank you so much, Greydy, for joining us in the studio today. I hope you had a fun time, because I sure did.
I had a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you'll have to come back when Caroline's back, and we'll do a little kiki maybe around WNBA.
You'll need a little third chair. Or
Oh,
something.
yeah, we will. We usually actually get a couch.
Oh,
And he'll be in
okay.
the chair. We'll be on the couch. But yeah, thanks for joining us today. I hope our listeners, you guys loved Greydy as much as I did. Be sure you are subscribed on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, where we post full-length videos of this episode and every episode every single week. Greydy, where can people keep up with you?
They can find me at Greydy Diaz on everything.
How do you spell Greydy?
Greydy. So a little different, a little unique.
Yeah.
Could never find a souvenir as a kid.
Listen, they don't put respect on Blake's either. So I feel that.
True.
It's kind of a
It's okay. We get custom everything.
Exactly. We're special.
Until next time, thank you for tuning in to Well Played.
The only podcast in a league of its own.